Hey guys, I'm Dov, and today I'm here with a very spooky special multicast. We've got a bunch of spooky games for you today, featuring all sorts of ghouls, fiends, creatures, things that go bump in the night, ghouls, ghosts, zombies, and more. So here we go. We're going to get started with the Vampire Coast, led by Mr. Evil himself, good old Noctilus. He's got the Morngul, going to be taking on my Dwarves. So yeah, we've got a couple cannons here, carronades rather, mortar as well, a whole bunch of zombies with halberds, handguns, even some pumpkins, or maybe they're candies, I'm not really sure. In terms of Belagar's army here, Mr. Belagar the Brave here, ready for a rumble. He's got his Viking costume on. The rest of his lads all decided to dress as Robin Hood, so yeah, we've got them as well. Of course, the Ironbreakers rocking their traditional red. And yeah, we've got some miners with explosive jack-o'-lanterns as well. So, should be a fun time. We're going to get the Vanguard moving as Dutch Skinks Undead here was a bit over to the side. Definitely going to be very scary, though. That Morngul Haunter is sole source of terror, and lots of zombies to kind of throw at me here. But thankfully, I was able to get a pretty favorable situation here. The Bugman's Rangers, got a few of them, including, let's see, 3 of them. We've got several groups of regular Rangers and some great weapons going on a secret mission over on the side there. Yeah, because of the thick formations I'm in, I'm going to take a lot of damage from the carronades, but the carronade crews are honestly too slow to escape the Rangers here. Rangers, of course, range far, range fast, and they are going to be able to get in here and use their crossbows to take out those cannon crews. A really nice bombardment there from Noctilus, just does a ton of damage to this group of Bugman's Rangers. But, of course, they do regenerate. And here come the explosive blasting charges. Zombies saying trick or treat, and of course the miners going to oblige them by giving them all the treats. Bit of a trick though, really. And yeah, it's going to be a fun time for all. You can see the Morngul making his way over to this side, and Belagar is getting ready to respond here. Belagar, of course, with great stats and good weapon strength as well. Morngul doesn't have a whole lot of armor. His stats aren't that great either outside of his anti-infantry and weapon strength, so Belagar will be able to get some work done. He just charges straight through the zombies. Oh man, a straight hit to the face just staggers that big nasty quite well. He's going to pop his Mighty Oathstone and Revenge Incarnate here. Unfortunately, the miners don't hold their ground, so Belagar standing here alone, taunting the Morngul. I say standing here alone, the Rangers are just pouring in fire here onto this Morngul, and despite his missile resistance and regeneration and everything, he is taking a significant amount of damage here. You can see Noctilus starting to summon some zombies here, pushing the front a little bit with some more of his halberds and so on. The Rangers with great weapons are getting up over to the sides, start to get in position to make a difference here. The bombers are going to be a bit of an issue, though, and the handguns also do turn to respond. And keep in mind that, of course, the Rangers with great weapons don't have a missile block chance, so they are going to suffer pretty badly under some withering fire here. That group's going to go try and take out the mortar on the other side of the ridge, and it'll be quite the battle here. Oh man, more blasting charges. The Norgrunlings Ironbreakers now using their charges on these zombies here. You can see Noctilus has come forward, but the zombie is suffering pretty badly. And did the Morngul already go down? I think he already, yeah. Oh man, just got dropped by Belagar. Belagar, an absolute champion here, just wrecking through some zombies, delivering the mighty hammer of justice here for the Dawi. Oh yeah, zombies can't hang. That guy went for a ride for sure. But more zombie summons in the back to continue to try and tie down some of these ranged units. Rangers definitely taking some damage here as well, so although the balance power is slightly in my favor at this point, things are looking pretty decent. The bombers and the guns able to see back the Rangers over here, and oh man, while the miners have their own explosives, the bombers as well, of course, using their little grenades here to do some pretty good damage to those Rangers. Over here, though, the mortar crew has finally been interrupted by the secret agent Rangers over here, and oh man, look at that decapitation there. Absolutely beautiful. Got some Tomb King cities out on the side there. Of course, you know they're giving out the king-size candy bars over there. And yeah, the Rangers moving in here, or moving back rather, trying to outrange the bombers there. using the miners instead to help soak up some of that damage. More zombie summons. Noctilus continuing to fight Bugman's Rangers here. Bugman's Rangers actually will do very well against the zombies. They've got good melee defense and regeneration, so they can shrug off most of the hits that come their way from those zombies. So pretty good stuff. Belegar continuing to fight as well. Just absolute menace. Oh, looks like he's got Noctilus' number. Wants to go say hello to Mr. Vampire over here. Currently getting jumped on by Bugman's Rangers from every side. Looks like he's got another zombie summon in his pocket. Tries to get some trick-or-treaters to help support here. That is going to probably see off those Bugman's Rangers. The extra melee defense from Mighty Elstone definitely helps. Up to 66 melee defense with regeneration. Unfortunately, they're just so few in number at this point. And yeah, it's a tough situation overall. Belegar going to give some headbutts to the zombies. He gets hit a little bit by Noctilus there as well. So far, not doing great for Belegar. Balance of power has come back to even quite a bit, and another beautiful bombardment there, just wrecking those Rangers. But we're starting to grind through some of the zombies. You can see we are eventually able to get up and around the handguns here, get some zombies in on the secret agents. Or sorry, to support the secret agents, rather, on this zombie gun line here. And the Rangers with great weapons, having taken down the mortar, get a beautiful flanking attack here. Oh yeah, listen to that Dawi war cry, absolutely beautiful. The throwing axe is also coming in, doing some good damage from a distance. We've even got a unit of Bugmans in support here, so looking pretty good. Balance power starts to turn back as more of those zombies start to crumble away. And of course the summons will fade as well. And Belegar gets a nice hit on Noctilus back there. Miners helping out a bit, and with more infantry support here, Belegar should be able to start focusing Noctilus down pretty well. And although they do have pretty comparable combat stats in terms of melee defense, obviously Noctilus, more meant as anti-large, does have good AP, but at the same time, only 45 attack means he's going to have a hard time getting good contact on Belegar consistently. And oh man, some beautiful blasting charges just finishing off those zombies there for the Norgrimlings. Look at that shot, just wading through the pile of dead zombies here. And the Norgrimlings, of course, are going to be excellent for supporting this fight with their massive melee defense. And oh man, some direct hits on blasting charges there from Noctilus, just to give us some extra cinematics here. But yeah, once the Ironbreakers move in with Belegar, it's going to be all over. Oh man, beautiful stuff. Absolutely love the cinematics of this game. Yeah, you can see the rest of the zombies have pretty much crumbled away now, so only Noctilus remains. And yeah, all Ranger Vanguard definitely took some heavy casualties, but it worked out in the end. Norgrimlings, of course, as well, can just grind through zombies all day. 266 kills on them. And yeah, I mean, you would expect a lot of kill totals pretty much just across the board here. But Belegar himself, Revenge Incarnate, up to 104 melee attack, gets a huge hit on Noctilus, and that triggers critical army losses. So well played to Dutch Skink. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that one. Yeah, as I said, you'd expect high kill totals pretty much across the board here, but in particular, 266 for those Ironbreakers. And yeah, just the fact that everyone got consistent kills is, of course, what we want to see here. For Dutch Skink's side, the Haunter definitely got focused down pretty hard by Belegar, which was a bit rough. I was also pouring, like, the majority of my Ranger fire into it as well, which, you know, definitely going to be a tough spot to be in. Ultimately, you know, he did grind through a lot of my stuff reasonably well, but didn't really have anything to chase routing units off, which is always pretty important. Like, I would even say just trade one of these handguns for, like, a single unit of hounds, and just play very conservatively with them, and then once you have units that are starting to rout, you want to chase them off, because Dawi units, especially in the late game, with their high leadership, good defensive stats, can be very, very tough to kill. And the ranged units, especially, if you can chase them off, and Rangers, of course, light armor, the dogs will be able to get good kills on them while they're pursuing also. But that's enough of this. Let's get to the next spooky replay. Yeah, we'll go straight to it. Here we are with the next battle, the spookiest of the spookies, the Big Doom King constructs, led by Arkin the Black, the baddie himself. And who could they be up against here, up in the cold, frozen north? Looks like it's a bunch of spiders and orcs and goblins, and this guy, whose costume he claims consists only of his fancy headpiece, so not sure about that, but we'll see. As for the rest, we've got some rock lobbers here, which actually, believe it or not, are decent counters for Shabti Greatbows, some Spider Riders, Black Orcs, A few goblins scattered around, the 2 regiments of renown, and a huge line of Daka. We've got lots of Orc Arrow Boys and the Rusty Heirs. As for Turin's Tomb Kings, he's got Hyro Titan, of course, Sphinx of Usek, and as mentioned, he does have Arkan the Black as well. Skeleton Warriors up front. Just a few here, a Scorpion as well, a couple of Nehekara Horsemen, so a relatively narrow build, but a pretty straightforward monster mash. You can see the... Unfortunately, didn't have any shot-to great bows to shoot at, so the rock lobbers are actually just going to be pouring their fire in on these constructs for the time being, and while they're not super accurate, with enough volume of fire, they can actually score some pretty consistent hits and start to do a little bit of wearing damage over time, which of course is going to be very important for taking down these big constructs. And yeah, just doing some patient skirmishing here. You can see we've also got some vultures over here. Very spooky. We're just going to kind of be sitting in a bit of a defensive position for the moment, obviously, with all these missile units. And we do want to try and be a little bit proactive in trying to delay, you know, these fast-moving units, obviously, from getting onto the artillery. We want to generate some good value there. So, here we go. Looks like Fata Buna on those Black Orcs. Definitely a great target there. The Warlords boys charging in maybe a little bit prematurely, but they do get armor sundering on that Hero Titan, and here comes the Wa as all the units get their massive damage spike charging in here, and yeah. Oh man, the Rock Lobber as well, just firing straight danger close into combat here. You can see Turin tries to fall back to delay the impact of that Wa there, but even in melee, these Black Orcs up against the Sphinx of Usek will be able to get some damage in. You can see they get some hits there. Liber Mortis comes in to respond, and a beautiful Fanatics cast from the 8-peak Loonies just rips through those Skeleton Warriors. Meanwhile, we're trading some Spirit Leeches here, Arkan the Black and Azag the Slaughter. The Scorpion comes over and is able to get a great tear route on a couple of these Chevron Spiders here, which is a big problem for me. Definitely need those Spiders, but at the same time, we're using the other Spiders just to kind of protect in the backline here. I'm not really too worried if the Carrion decide to go after Orc Arrow Boys. Yes, they'll interrupt them from firing temporarily, but, I mean, since I have them on guard mode, some will continue to fire, and the ones that fight, I mean, they'll do well enough against the Carrion that I'm not really worried about it. You can see the Daka, in that short amount of time, has been able to actually take down Arkan, so... Or not Arkan, the Hero Titan, rather. Meanwhile, Azag recharging his WoW over here against these forgotten Nehekara Horsemen, Spirit Leeching them a bit, and also, yeah, just recharging the WoW to see if we can't get a second one throughout the course of the battle. These Black Orcs still fighting tooth and nail in this main line here. Meanwhile, my other units just being used a little more conservatively to help fend off units that try and come in this back line here. We're going to try and keep these missile units secure as much as we can. But a giant traffic jam here, and more healing comes as the Realm of Souls procs onto its next level. You can see those Sphinx of Usek starting to take some consistent damage from the Daka squad there, and a lot of the Tomb King's infantry is worn away already by that heavy initial push. So yeah, meanwhile over here, these Nehekara Horsemen, I figured that they would probably just crumble away. So I do need Azag over here on this other part of the battle. I'm going to dispatch him momentarily. But yeah, you can see Arkan's getting some kills going on his chariot, able to charge in here, support with the Nehekara Horsemen against the Spider Riders, and I'm going to commit some more Spider Riders in here just to try and hold up this blob as much as possible, or for as long as possible, rather. And Nehekara Horsemen are taking some good damage there. The poison, of course, also very great for keeping Arkan pinned in place, rather. The Goblobbers continuing to fire at the Sphinx of Usek, and more Fanatics from the last 8-peak Looney here, getting through those Skeleton Warriors and forcing them into crumbling. So, looks like a Nushabti summon coming in. Again, trying to disrupt this Orc air line as much as possible. Very, very spooky stuff. Oh, man. Yeah, get some attack animations in there. The Scorpion, especially, with the spiders. Very, very spooky. And unfortunately, these poor little goblins are easily spooked and will probably immediately run away. Yep, immediately get terrified there. A bit rough, but at the same time, Azag getting a little bit risky here. He comes in for a dive against Arkan the Black. He's getting Spirit Leech, though, and now we're going to get surrounded by Nehekara Horsemen and Carrion here. But at the same time, I've got these Black Orcs on station to help protect, so I'm not really too worried about it. I can just pull through my own Black Orcs here, and they should be able to help clean up against some of these Nehekara Horsemen, kind of draw them into a bit of a killing zone there. And yeah, Azag should be free to get back up into the air, unless the Scorpion chooses to charge him. Nope, looks like the Scorpion's trying to escape as well. So we're kind of getting a little bit of a reform here, and we do have enough for a second Wa. Critically, for these Black Orcs that are fighting against like the Nehekara Horsemen and the Sphinx here, if they can get some attacks in, they'll do a ton of damage, but it sounds like another Fate of Buna there from Arcan the Black on those Black Orcs, just doing a ton of damage in the late game, and the summon as well, going to be very, very important here as he continues to try and generate some chaff to protect. But the Orc Air line's coming back. You can see here as well, the Rusty Airs potentially in a good situation here, but they do get kind of chased off by this Necrotect, and I definitely need to try and keep them safe as much as possible to keep firing here at the Sphinx. So we'll see. We've got one Rock Lobber still online. Nekara Horseman starting to clean up the other ones. So not looking too great here in terms of the balance power. Things are pretty close, but starting to swing slightly in Turin's favor. And I'm not really sure where I want to put down Azag to try and recharge Wa, so I'm going to decide probably to go after those Nekara Horsemen again in the back line that I failed to finish off earlier. But at this point, with that Fate of Buna, those Black Orcs just took a ton of damage. And, I mean, the missile line's definitely pretty real at this point, but we'll see. It's still very close. Possible for me to maybe take down the Sphinx of Usek, but it is still quite healthy. More Spirit Leeches as well on Arcan can't hurt. If we can get him down and possibly finish him off, then we could get the Sphinx to potentially crumble on leadership. I don't know. With the Necrotech still providing some leadership as well, it could be tough. We'll see. Azag comes down in the back to help deal with these Nekara Horsemen, and the Daka line's going to make their stand. Liber Mortis active to help give some extra physical resistance to help mitigate some of those missiles, and you can see the Rusty Arrows getting a little bit separated here. Actually get caught and routed off, so definitely pretty tough. Should have tried to take the time to get them up and around and sort of reunified with my main force here, but as it is, they're going to get chased off a little bit. I do have some other forces coming back from route on the side here, though, so potentially we can make something happen, but the big spookiest of spookies with his big spooky skull face. I guess they don't have skull faces. It's more like, I'm not really sure. Like a big mummy face? I don't know. It's definitely spooky. Gonna trudge off there to deal with the isolated Black Orcs and other units, so not the best right now, but the rest of the Goblins and Orcs are going to follow up here. Azag, again, dealing with the Nekar Horsemen, and the fact that the Orc Arab Wards are decent enough in melee, you know, with Azag's support, they can definitely try and win out here, so recharging Wa, I'm not really sure if I can get one more in the late game here. It could potentially be the difference, but the fact that I don't really have many melee units to take advantage of it is also pretty tough. I don't have many Black Orcs left. There's only a handful here as well, so maybe if I can try and draw this out and use up as many of my missiles, I still have quite a bit of ammunition on some of these different units, so maybe. It's a big maybe at this point, but Arcan's also getting very low, only about 500 HP on him, so a couple of Spirit Leeches, maybe a quick hit and run charge, and I could potentially finish him off here. We'll see. It's gonna be very, very close. We'll fast forward a little bit through this mid game, or sorry, late game, as we do have quite a bit to get through. Rusty Arrows once again get caught out in the open. I don't really have the mobility to try and reunify them with my main force here, but the Nekar Horsemen going to be tough, and this summon is really the backbreaker here, as it gets like a rear charge penalty on a lot of these Black Orcs, causes fear to them as well, because of course all undead units cause fear. Azag comes in for the snipe on Arcan. He gets him down to 142 hit points, but can't quite finish him off here, and oh no, the Sphinx comes, and Azag is kind of pinned up against this rock right here. He takes a couple of huge attacks from the Sphinx there, and it's all over, just leading to immediate army losses there. Arcan just barely hangs on to his last HP, so wow, very, very close battle. Well played to turn, of course, and the Spooks do come out on top just barely. 107 kills, actually, for Arcan on his chariot. Very good stuff. 90 for the Sphinx of Usek. Just absolute terror in the night. Yeah, it definitely was tough getting the Spider Riders caught out by the Nekar Horsemen over on the one side initially. You can see they got 83 kills, managed to get an XP Chevron as well. That Tomb Scorpion providing some key terror in some, you know, isolated engagements there. But the Black Orcs, of course, only 39 kills, but did get an XP Chevron there. 94 kills here, and the Spider Riders, of course, had theirs to begin with. Rock Lobbers didn't actually get that many kills, but of course they were mostly focused on shooting the constructs the whole time. In hindsight, I actually maybe should have focused them on the Nehekara Horsemen, actually. I mean, they did do a little bit of damage to the constructs, but it probably wasn't worth it at the end of the day. If we'd been able to take out those Nehekara Horsemen earlier on, though, I would have been able to protect my missile line a lot better. But yeah, regardless, very close game, well played to turn, and let's get to the next spooky battle. Here we are with Helm and Ghost up next. with the proper vampire counts. We've even got a banshee here, a nice spooky ghoul, your regular old run-of-the-mill zombies, lots of spooky, scary skeletons, and even skeletons on skeleton horses. So yeah, going to be a good time here. This is a replay from one of my recent streams. I know not all of you guys go watch the replays of the streams, so I wanted to bring this one to you because, of course, it's Helm and Gorst. So it's always going to be a special battle for that reason. Varix Reavers, Blood Knights, and we've even got some Devils of Schwarzhofen, some regular Vargeist, and the Dire Pack immediately get into a tangle with some Gold Chevron Gore Herds. So the beasts have come out to play for Hexenoct here. They've even brought a giant, Malagor the Dark Omen, a very, very spooky Halloween character, or sorry, Hexenoct character. They've got more little goatmen, some nasty pigs, and all sorts of harpies and other creatures as well. So you can see right off the bat, we're going to be pushing down and getting into quite the scrum here. This is one of those maps that's, it's one of the Steps of Isha maps, has a lot of kind of choke points and this low, sort of spooky, foggy ground here, and this is where we're going to get the engagement going. So let's keep it nice and close as some of the Beastmen charge in. Ooh, the Blackhorns Ravagers look great right here. They're going to get in and start to fight some of these zombies here. You can see the Gorse Master coming in with his cart and a massive charge from the Vargeist here. You can see the giant coming in from the hilltop. Some Ungor Raiders also throwing in some fire as well. Will be very efficient here. We've got Gorbel also. Looks like he's going to be soloing some of these Vargeist here potentially. Oh, gets a good hit in. Just absolutely fells one, but the Banshee just slashing his hooves, kicking him in the back of the neck, you know, just being generally not very polite. Meanwhile, over on the side here, we've got the Knights involved with some Razorgore herds here. It's not going to be the greatest trade. Thankfully, the Varix Reavers do have their own regeneration. We've also got another corpse cart over here. This old spooky necromancer with his Hexenoct mask. Oh man, look here. That was a very haggard cackle. Thank you, sir. Dance Macabre on this blob to help increase their melee attack, to help take down some of these pigs. Just want to get them off the field as quickly as possible. Meanwhile, in the main blob fight here, you can see the giant has gotten involved, and he has Helm and Gorst pinned up against a tree, just wailing on him, absolutely wailing on him. So Gorst needs to get out of dodge as quickly as possible. He's taking a ton of damage here, so he's going to start to wheel away. We're going to stick the Banshee on the giant there. Meanwhile, up on the high ground, I'm using these Vargeist to try and go after some of these ranged units. Not going particularly well, though. Not able to get the terror routes that I need, and yeah, end up taking a ton of damage here, so definitely not the best. But let's keep it close here on this very, very spooky kind of woodland engagement in the pits here, where Gorst is going to throw down a big heal, and of course, Mr. Gorst, as he drives through the tree there. Wow, that is a very cool trick. He actually needs to be in melee to be able to use his Mortis effect, right? So he will need to get into a melee blob eventually. Traderkin here just slowing down all of these units and doing quite a bit of damage to the cavalry in particular. But we're going to move this other corpse cart over and try and get Gorst maybe into like these gore herds right here. Zombies and skeletons just dying in droves as they are meant to. We're kind of starting to run out of bodies a little bit here, but we'll see. Balance of power still pretty close at this point if we kind of take an overarching look. Harpy is able to get a few units out on the periphery here, and the missile units are relatively safe. We have killed some models, but really not much, all things considered. Gorbel comes in to try and finish off Gorst, and Gorst is suffering, certainly, but at the very least he's in this blob kind of draining all these units here, and likewise Gorbel, I mean, he's not completely killing Helm and Gorst, so it's okay. For the time being, we've managed to finish off the giant here. The Blood Knights here with the Banshee combining, actually able to take him down. The giant, it seems, does not have the ability to walk through trees, unfortunately. So, yeah, he actually falls there, and that leaves the Banshee and the Necromancer free to try and pin down the Gorbel here, but Gorbel smells blood. He only has one target. It's Helm and Gorst, and he gets a huge rolling attack in there, and Gorst suffering pretty badly as the hits come in. The pigs are coming down, but the ghost is close by. Thankfully, she's going to continue to be able to pick away at the Gorbel here. And yeah, you can see the terror kicking in for the Banshee, and the Knights as well. The Blood Knights, definitely unsung heroes in this battle. It's just been charging around dealing with these pigs wherever they show up. Same thing with the Varix Reavers, just kind of using these two in tandem to help support each other, and they are dealing quite well with these nasty beasts. Definitely trying to get a Hexanos feast going with some pork belly there. But anyway, Gorst pretty quickly approaching his healing cap, but I am able to somewhat secure him. And again, keep Gorbel pinned in with the Blood Knights and the Banshee. He is going to do a lot of damage to the Blood Knights, but we should be able to keep him secure. I don't know, as long as we can keep Helmengorst alive, that's the key thing at this point. Necromancer here, stroking his Forbidden Rod, getting beat up by Malagor a little bit, but at the same time, providing some extra Winds of Magic regeneration for Gorst to try and heal himself up. Or, you know, just maybe summon some more zombies or something. At this point, he is critically low on HP and just getting hit by the pig there. Oh, man, gets one more. Ooh, looks like that was an invocation of the Hex specifically just on the Blood Knights there. So, yeah, is this the end of Helmengorst? He's crumbling. He's getting shot with arrows. His Blood Knights look like they're abandoning him. But will the pigs actually finish it off? They get routed, they get terror routed, and Helmengorst survives with like 70 HP left, so that's great. We can now try and use the Corpse Cart's innate regeneration and the Balefire effect, of course, stacking on top of that to quickly get him back to strength. And the Knights have charged up the hill and started to chase off some of these units in the periphery, so yeah, Beastmen just starting to run out of steam here in this absolute just pit grind fight. And you can see here we still have a few Grave Guard skeletons fighting, and of course the Banshee being very key as well. Being able to help assassinate the Giant, help assassinate the Gorbel, now going after Malagor himself. Malagor definitely wants none of that, so he's going to leave the little goat boys to fight the spooky ghost. Necromancer also on his corpse cart here, not really doing damage to the gore herds, but maybe soaking some hits from them at the very least, and providing that sweet vigor mortis as well. So yeah, Gorst hanging on for dear life. He's crumbling. He's in and out of crumbling, I should say. But hanging on for the time being. A nice downhill charge from these Varix Reavers just sends some goat boys flying here, and the pigs just get absolutely melted and routed. The Banshees can't hold up their leadership either, and all of a sudden the balance of power swings pretty wildly in my favor as a lot of these units start to be dealt with. And Helmengorst getting close to his healing cap. You know it's a good game when you've gotten Helmengorst to his healing cap. Oh man, a beautiful rain of arrows. Malagor kicking the back of his cart, and Gorst once again trying to drive through a tree, but this time unsuccessful as his cart is broken. But Malagor's going to pay the price as here comes the next corpse cart and the other Necromancer along with the Banshee going to be able to deal with Malagor here. So a bit unfortunate for Mr. the Dark Omen, but that's what you get for messing with Gorst, honestly. I don't know what to tell you. We'll just keep it nice and close here. And again, the massive pile of bodies here. The corpse cart, cackling Necromancer, and the Ghost Lady. Oh man, here come the Blood Knights too, coming for a nice charge on these isolated Gores. Didn't really get the greatest charge there, but some summoned zombies as well from the Necromancer. And that's game. Another great game, very well played to my opponent there, and yeah, just a fun Gorst time, honestly. Gorst, if you can keep him alive and sort of use him as distraction, and then whatever's trying to kill him, as long as he doesn't get, like, insta-gibbed, like, you can kind of kite around with him a little bit, and use, like, your Blood Knights and other mobile units, and, like, the Banshee, for example, to try and snipe out some enemies. But how about Malagor? 181 kills, just throwing those breath attacks everywhere. Giving that nice vigor refresh to his whole army. And these gore herds, these gold chevron gore herds, also just cut zombies to ribbons. Just all the zombies and skeletons just absolutely died. Graveguard, though, we're still able to trade pretty effectively there, especially with the corpse cart support. And of course, Blood Knights, 80 kills, 2 XP chevrons, definitely doing some heavy lifting. 128 kills for the Varix Reavers as well. Definitely a pretty underrated regiment of renown, in my opinion. So, yeah, for the Beastmen side, yeah, giant 2 XP chevrons. Unfortunately, just got a little bit isolated there and taken out, but definitely did some excellent work in pounding Gorst's face in. So, a fun time. We've got one more spooky replay to get to, so without further ado, here we go. And for the finale, we've got a 2v2 featuring all sorts of baddies. We've got the Vampire Coast featuring once again, this time with the madmen cackling in the sky. Okay. And by my side here, we're going to have the Foul Warriors of Chaos with their weird tentacled things. We've got the the big boys in the heavy armor. Sigvald himself, of course, looking fabulous as ever. And yeah, I've got some chosen halberds here. Chaos warriors spawn some marauders, horsemen as well with their Viking costumes. And yeah, as for the rest, we're going to be up against the emo elves and the silly rat boys. So more Halloween creatures here. Oh, look at this big nasty creature. A many-headed hydra, all sorts of spooky things. We've got Queek Headtaker here, ready to rumble. He's got his friend in a ninja costume. And his other friend who dressed up in steampunk attire, so that should be pretty cool. We've also got Darth Vader. So yeah, that's a pretty cool costume as well. More ninjas. Love the ninja costumes. Absolutely love the ninja costumes. And more emo elves. The emo elves, honestly, are just kind of dressed as goths, which they do every day, so it's not really a holiday for them. But, you know, we decided to invite them anyway, because it would add to the theme. You can see right off the bat I make some pretty big mistakes with Harkon and just about get him sniped out there, but I'm going to try and pull out of range just a bit. As for the rest here, you can see the Warriors of Chaos. The idea here was to try and kind of swing up and around this lake and to kind of pin them and attack from two sides here. We'll see. I've also got a few bloaty boys I'm trying to keep hidden for the moment to see if I can't get into a giant blob. But yeah, definitely got a horde here. We got two crab ladies as well, one with just Van Geist's Revenge and a couple extra goodies, and the other one is Lore of Vampires with the Zombie Summon and Invocation of Nehek. So over here, already the Marauder Horsemen suffering pretty badly as they discover the Shades and taking some pretty significant damage. Shades have really good DPS for AP missiles. They have very, very strong DPS. Yeah, this 34 missile damage is honestly a little bit misleading in my opinion. I really feel like they do a bit more than that because of that 2 projectiles per volley and almost pure AP damage too. So it does a lot. Harkon here comes to breathe and shoot Queek a bit, but again, proves to be a huge mistake as I underestimated these slingers. They're actually gutter runner slingers with decent AP values and very good rate of fire. I'm going to take a ton of damage, mostly just from those slings. Harkon only has 80 armor at the end of the day, so it's really not a lot. But we do try and engage over here, get some hounds in to try and disrupt this Skaven advance a little bit. My idea was to try and get the bloaty boys into the Death Runners, but they're a little bit far back. At the moment, probably needed to bring them up a little bit sooner, but we'll see. Harkon has taken some pretty significant damage, but he can't regenerate much of that back, thankfully. Meanwhile, Warriors of Chaos doing some good skirmishing here on this Chill of Sontar. Going to be kind of pathing up and around here, getting the Chaos Warriors matchup on the Dread Spears. Definitely a decent matchup there. And Malekith just kind of chilling for the time being. But the Crabs are going to choose to get involved a little bit here. And oh no, the bloaty boys! Oh, he gets clipped by those clan rats there and does a ton of damage, but at the end of the day, it was a unit of clan rats that's actually cheaper than the bloaty boys, so a bit unfortunate, but, you know, not the end of the world. Over here, you can see the Shades opening up, doing a ton of damage to those Chaos Spawn, but it does look like the Chaos Spawn and the Hounds will be able to get a hold of a few of them here. The Spear's trying to get into a position to support, but those Shades, oh man, with the Poison and the Spawn taking a ton of damage. Beautiful Soul Stealer here, though, on Prince Sigvald and a lot of his cronies. Meanwhile, over here, oh, here we go. The big spooky finale. This is what we've all been waiting for. The pirate ship appears and just wrecks down the line of Skaven, absolutely annihilating multiple units. And let's look at the kill total. 450 kills after that Van Geist's Revenge there. So basically killed a lot of the numbers of the Skaven army. Granted, there weren't very many expensive units in that line. It was mostly just clan rats and slaves. You can see the Death Runners over here on this side did actually get in relatively unscathed. The other Death Runners here, I finally got my bloaty boy in a position to potentially pay off. Here he comes, and they pull out of the blob at the last second. And did some okay damage there on the side, but honestly wasn't nearly as devastating as it could have been. Was that worth it at the end of the day? It was probably about at cost, which isn't great, but Malekith is all of a sudden in trouble as these Harpies are coming after him. Or sorry, Harkon's in trouble from Darth Vader, rather, as he's coming in here. The Harpies are kind of annoying him, picking at him, so he can't really get away super effectively, and it's just a problem. So the zombie handguns and the Necrofex going to fire up into the air, but the Necrofex doesn't do great firing up into the air. I actually think maybe it's focused on the Death Runners right now. I'm not really sure, but the pistols at the very least can try and deal with the Harpies there. Unfortunately, they do okay. I mean, it's all right, but Queek and his assassin buddy come in here to try and fight the Necrofex, which is actually pretty bad for me. They do a really good job fighting a monster like this, where he's not great fighting other single entity models. But Harkon comes in, immediately gets a terror route on Queek. You can see it looks like a Soul Stealer there as well on Malekith. That is going to heal his HP and drain Harkon a bit, but thankfully Harkon does have heavy magic resistance, so that Soul Stealer not as good as it could have been. But that Breath attack as well did a little bit of friendly fire, and the Gallows Giant going down here is really, really bad. Although we have been able to do quite a bit of damage to Queek and the Assassin in return, but that Gutter Runner fire, man, those Gutter Runners just generating excellent value. They've pretty much been able to single-handedly mow through all of my zombies as well, so generating some really, really nice value. Meanwhile, checking in with Chaos, they've been able to see off a lot of the Dark Elf troops, did some really good damage to these Shades here. Definitely needs to try and use these Marauder Horsemen to chase them down, keep them off the battlefield. You can see the Chill of Sontar just staying away from those Chosen with Halberds, definitely the right play at the moment. But I was feeling pretty confident about our chances, despite the fact that Harkon's about to go down here. He gets Howling Warp Galed by the Skaven, and that allows Malekith to get in here, or sorry, Darth Vader, with his prototype TIE Fighter, whatever it is, and absolutely take down the big bad vampire here. Yeah, Harkon not long for this world. Meanwhile, over here, the fight's getting underway. I'm trying to get my two captains back to try to unify with the Chaos Forces and make a final push here. Sorcerer Lord of Fire is still pretty healthy. Sigvald as well, still pretty healthy. So this unit of Shades, though, is definitely a problem. And this other unit of Shades here, we're able to summon some zombies on and get the Crab in here in melee. The Chaos Warriors were also able to get in melee because of the disruption, but a beautiful Warp Lightning here, very well placed, and also an excellent Burning Head in response to do a ton of damage to those Gutter Runners and the Shades especially. That was a lot of really high value units, so excellently placed there. Magic on both sides, just going to lead to a mass rout in general for the Dark Elves and Skaven, which is not great. Our forces, of course, being undead, are still holding, but it does look like Queek, the Assassin, and the Warlock Engineer just kind of grinding against some zombies for now. This unit of Shades, though, is still very healthy. Going to be able to get some key fire in. A nice breath attack from Malekith as well, finishing off those Marauder Horsemen. And my Crabs also, as well as the Chosen, are at a huge risk here to those Shades. So we don't really have any units to tie them down. I was definitely kicking myself for throwing away those Hounds earlier. But we'll see. We still have some more Dark Elf and Skaven units kind of coming back in the periphery. And you can see the balance of power starting to turn slightly. But we still have a slight chance here. Rat Ogre's being routed off. Though we still have quite a few Chosen with Halberds as well. So the Chill of Sontar, of course, able to pull away because of its chilling effect, is just faster than infantry when they're trying to chase it. So it can pull away to regenerate there. The Chosen will move in and try and finish off these chaff infantry and so on. But the Shades are definitely a danger. The fact that they can open up and shoot these high-value targets, and just like this, oh man, that is devastating on the Crab. This Fleet Captain, Lore of Beasts, not too long for this world, with the focus fire from the Shades there. Another Burning Head, I'm not really sure. Maybe misclicked that particular spell. Was probably trying to cast it over here, but nonetheless, Malekith comes down, takes some damage from the Chaos Warriors. Of course, anytime he comes down, I'm going to try and hit him with the taunt. And over here, it does look like Queek has been tangled up with some Chaos Warriors, which he will be able to trade okay with. The Skaven still, though, have some slingers with ammo, the Gutter Runner slings, and it's just not looking great. Balance of power more and more starting to turn against us as this Crab going to get sniped out probably by Malekith here. Yep, Malekith lands, just noms the Crab. And the Chosen with Halberds, not really close enough to defend there. Neither was the other fleet captain, so a bit unfortunate loss of the caster there. But at the same time, the Skaven leadership is getting very, very low as they're just getting ground down by hordes of infantry. You can see the Chaos Warriors here getting in. Queek and his buddies just taking consecutive hits, and they're just not able to hold up their leadership. This unit of Shades, though, is fast enough to stay out in front. And again, there are plenty of Gutter Runners here that now that they're out of ammo, they can throw themselves in and allow the Shades to do the work. Not a very Skaven thing to do, but still. Taunt here to try and protect the fleet captain. She takes a few huge hits from Malekith, though, and a massive Soul Stealer as well hits all of these units. Those Chosen, you know, the fleet captain here also hits the Chaos Sorcerer, so Malekith's going to regen a bit and also do some good damage, some big attacks on the fleet captain. The Chosen get terrified away, And unfortunately, that's going to kind of leave my fleet captain high and dry here. A nice burning head, though, does come in and roast out these dread spears a bit. But unfortunately, the sorcerer gets caught by the Chill of Sontar, and that's all she wrote for him. Likewise, my fleet captain is now crumbling. Sigvald's going to make his final stand here. He's got a few Chaos Warriors still fighting tooth and nail. The Death Runner's getting in, though, sundering their armor. You can see these Chaos Warriors down to only 50 armor because of that Weeping Blade. So those Dread Spears will actually be able to get some hits in. You know, whereas before they would do very negligible damage. Plenty of Harpies still around as well. So just a bad Halloween day for the coast, but still the, you know, the spooky emo elves and the silly rat boys gonna take home the Hexenok trophy for today for the big 2v2, but still very nice overcast Death Frenzy there to get on some various units, or maybe it was just on the clan rats alone, but still. Prince Sigvald the Magnificent with trophy heads just gets absolutely deleted here in just a couple of hits from Queek and Malekith, so just goes to show what that trophy heads can really do for you, especially in a 2v2 situation like that. So a super fun finale. Hope you guys enjoyed watching that. I know it was quite the wild, crazy battle there, and yeah, super back and forth. That massive Van Geyser Vantage, 467 kills at the end of the day for the fleet captain is quite impressive. Yeah, as for the rest of my army, didn't really pay out. I mean, obviously, the Gallus was able to get some kills, but ended up being a major liability against those mass gutter runners and shades. And Harkon as well, same thing for him. As for Cavendish's Warriors of Chaos, the Chosen ended up being a little bit rough. Maybe would have been better off with shields here, just because of, obviously, the mass missiles, but hindsight's 20/20, of course. But yeah, generally, you guys know I'm a big fan of the shielded Chosen anyway. I think they probably would have just been just a little bit better here. And then he maybe could have brought some supporting Marauders as well, maybe even some more Marauder Horsemen. The Hounds definitely did a good job. And the Horsemen as well. Same thing with the Chaos Spawn. Definitely did a great job of getting in, disrupting Namru's Shades. Unfortunately, we just couldn't quite catch all of them, and the one that survived into the late game ended up proving very decisive. The fact as well that we couldn't, you know, pursue routing units because of all the Harpies and everything, and also just this massive Skaven horde. We couldn't chase all of these units off because there's just too many of them. So ended up being a little bit of a resource issue at that point. But Malekith, 140 kills, did a great job. 67 for the Chill of Sontar. Let's see here for the Skaven, 76 for Queek, 56 for the Assassin, not too bad. And look at the kills on these Gutter Runners as well, 109, 97, also did some really excellent damage, again, to some high-value targets. So super fun stuff. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this Halloween special. If you did, be sure to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification button so every time I upload a new video, you'll be notified. Thank you once again for watching. Happy Hexenok, and we'll see you next time.